Hey everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday, so it's Shades of Bravo. Today I have a very special guest. It's my friend, Zack Peter. You know, Zack has got like a super popular social media, which I'm trying to emulate, which is not working for me. But Zack is all over the YouTube and the Instagram and the TikTok and all the things. So welcome, Zack.
Thank you for having me.
You got a new hairdo. We were just talking about it. It looks really cute. It's very dark now because it was super blonde.
Yes, I had a very bright platinum blonde hair. I had that for 6 years, and then I decided it was time for a change. It was time to go back to my natural color. So I'm glad that people are loving it though.
6 years is a long time to keep that up.
It was a lot. We would do it like every 2-ish months, and it was like a 7-hour process because this is my natural hair color, which is super, super dark. So getting it, and my hair is also like really thick and coarse. So getting it from like dark to like super, super bright platinum blonde was like a process. It was a brutal process to say the least.
I bet you feel like you've gained some time back in your life, huh?
I do. It's not as much maintenance, which I'm appreciating and I'm enjoying. I can't wait. I mean, a lot of it is still like blonde or still my bleached hair that's just dyed dark. So it's funny because
Yeah.
people be like, "Oh my god, your hair looks so much healthier," and I'm like, "It's literally still the exact same hair. It's just darker. If anything, it's color treated on top of being bleached. But if you think it looks healthier, then thank you."
Yeah. Well, you have nice hair, so like you're starting from a good base. Well, listen, I cannot believe you had that for 6 years. Whenever anybody on our shows, think back to Gina on OC, or you think about like for shows we watched, like Mariah from Welcome to Plathville. When people dye their hair, they're like super, super white, white blonde. We call it crisis hair because we're like, oh, you're going through something. You are
Yeah.
going through something if you did that to your hair.
Yeah, it was a 6-year crisis that I went through, and now I've come out on the other side.
Well, you look great. You couldn't be cuter.
Thank
Um,
you.
so we're going to talk about Salt Lake City, and then I kind of want to pick your brain a little bit on what's happening with the Tres Amigas.
Yes.
But Salt Lake City, of course, is top of mind for everyone. And I actually feel kind of bad because I feel like I feel like these are all my children and I'm not giving them all the attention they need. Like I'm not giving my Potomac ladies the attention they need and deserve. I haven't even watched like the last 3 episodes. I know
Well,
the one that was this
Potomac
week was
has
kind of
been
heavy.
yeah, Potomac's been a little boring this season. It hasn't been their best season. I feel like last season they struggled a little bit, but this season, like I couldn't even really get into it because I just feel like it's not been a great season.
I know, and I feel bad when I
I know.
flake off a little bit, then I'm like, "All right, just because I love them all equally, I have to catch
Yeah.
up." Not like anybody knows that I'm watching, but I feel guilty if I don't catch up.
Yeah.
I fell off the last Atlanta too, but then I caught up on everything at the reunion, so I felt okay about myself. But Beverly Hills this past week, I mean, I've watched it, but it's the Kyle of it all that we're just waiting on, you know?
Beverly Hills has actually been some people are saying that it's like one of their worst seasons. I actually think that it's not a terrible season. I think that's actually kind of good.
Oh, I like
There's
it. I'm liking
every
it. I'm liking it.
every episode has brought something, whether it's, drama. I mean, the Denise versus Erica stuff was great. Like I feel like
Mhm.
it has been bringing it this season, and I cannot wait to dive into more of the Kyle and Morgan. Well, I guess we're starting to get into the Kyle and Morgan stuff, but I want to get into like the Kyle and Mauricio stuff.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. I think every episode has been good. Like you said, like we had the Dorit and PK stuff, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, PK is such a jerk," and other people are like, "Well, Dorit's hard to deal with." And I'm like, nobody knows. I mean, some people
Yeah.
know, obviously, unfortunately, but really, it's very hard to imagine being held at gunpoint while your kids are in the house. That is traumatic, and so let's cut her some slack. You know.
Yeah, and then you have someone like PK who is traveling a lot and very dedicated to work, and I think in his mind he's just like, I'm the breadwinner, I'm the provider, I have to work, like work is my priority. And she's just kind of like, but I need to be your priority. I need you to be here and show up for me because I'm struggling right now. And I just don't think he knows how to do that because he's so used to, having things done a certain way where he's the primary caretaker and putting the food on the table. And, I don't think he's ever really been the emotional support that I think she really needs him to be right now.
Yeah, and I think it's too bad for him to say, like, when I met her, she was so great and bubbly. Well, guess what? Now you've been married a while and you've got 2 kids and responsibilities, and
Mhm.
shit may or may not have gone south with their finances, and she's on a TV show, and she was held at gunpoint, so she may not
Yeah.
be that bubbly single gal you met 15 years ago. I mean, things change when you get
People
married, and
change. Yeah.
and life goes on, and there are big things, and so, people were like, "Oh, well, she might be hard to deal with." I'm like, let's all just put ourselves in her shoes for a second. She's married to him, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake. Mm,
Exactly.
yeah, mm.
Oh.
All right. So, apologies to Potomac ladies. I will catch up. And Beverly Hills, I'm still with you, but we got to get through this Salt Lake City situation before I can really concentrate. And they've actually sort of Bravo sort of spaced it out well, right? Where we're kind of wrapping up the Salt Lake City drama, we're going to get more into the Beverly Hills drama, and so that'll keep us occupied. And then of course
Yes.
Vanderpump's going to drop, so we'll
Ooh,
they
I
always
saw
keep
the
us on the
Vanderpump
hook.
premiere. I watched it last night.
Okay, I never get screeners, but I did get that one, and I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to. I've gotta wait till, like, for work, I don't have other stuff to watch, but I am gonna watch it early and really feel baller doing so, because I
I
never get
like I
anything
en
early.
I very much enjoyed it. It gave me all the feels, and I think it's gonna be a good season, but I think people are gonna be surprised at what we get in this premiere.
Okay, good, good. Alright, after I watch it, I'll text you, and we can discuss.
Yes.
Okay, now we are gonna talk about Salt Lake City, we keep saying it. Okay, so they had some main topics that were discussed, okay? So first we get into the Monica and her mom, the Linda of the
Ugh,
situation.
yes.
Um, I think we can all agree that her mom is pretty awful, but I think that the apple hasn't fallen too far from the tree,
No.
and Monica's learned from her mom, right?
As much as she despises her mother and as much as she's just like, I'm not like that and my mother's so terrible, it's like, yeah, but you are kind of like that. And listen, that's something that I think we automatically like develop unconsciously as we pick up traits
Yes.
from our parents that we don't even realize we become like them as we get older. And it's just learned conditioning that we grow up with that she's not even aware of how much she is just like Linda and how they are two peas in a pod. And she needs to really do some inner self reflection to kind of break down some of that.
Yeah, and I think that as they talk to some of the other women on the cast, like, "How's your relationship with your mom?" Everybody's kind of gone through it. Heather's gone through it with her mom when she left the church and got divorced and all that, and she
Yeah.
said she knew that what would happen, and it's interesting, Whitney getting closer with her mom now, and she sort of sees the dad in a different light because of all the therapy she's been through. So we didn't dwell on it a lot, but I think the Monica and her mom is worth kind of digging into because, I don't know about you, but I've never had my mom, nor do I know anybody whose mom has looked right at him and be like, "No, no, I didn't call you a fucker. I called you a motherfucker." I mean, can you
I
I mean,
know.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
her mom really is something else. And it's just listening to Monica even talk about her mom and like how her mom was competitive with her growing up and how her
Yeah.
mom has always wanted a career in television and now Monica's on TV and that's why it makes, it starts to add a little more context as to why, Linda's inserting herself so much into the drama because we knew that she really wanted to be part of the show and now we're really seeing, this is something that Linda's always wanted. So it's just
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable.
And for Monica to be like, and my mom prayed that if I didn't get on the show, then she would get on the show. I was like, what's Linda's connection? Like, how would she get on the show? She's just like any other Salt Lake City lady. Like, it doesn't make any sense why, at least Monica makes sense. She was in that Jen Shaw circle.
Yeah.
But Linda is just like some lady out here borrowing her daughter's Range Rover. Like, makes no sense.
Yeah, it would have been weird if Linda was, and she's also like so much older that like I just don't think it would have. There wouldn't have been a natural connection or any sort of meshing. And listen, Linda still got her way on the show.
She sure did. She worked herself in there. And maybe it's all fake. And maybe it's like Monica and Linda planned this the whole time so that Linda could also be a star. Like it's very hard to believe anything Monica says. It really is.
Yeah,
And that's where we are. And that's what's going to be interesting for next season.
yeah.
So then we go into Monica and Angie and the fall down the stairs. Now, it is interesting that they had footage of this, and you see how Monica walks around the corner to, like, go down probably to get her kids, and you do see her, like, naturally, like, you put your hand out for a rail, And then she just right down. So I love how she's like, your house isn't up to code. And that's true. If you have a staircase, you do have to have a rail.
I thought like this wasn't as bad as I heard. Like when people were talking about her falling down the stairs, like I thought these were like hard stairs, like wooden
Yeah,
stairs, and she like fully tumbled down and like broke a leg or something. And then they're like, oh, they were stairs with carpet on them, and she kind of just slid down. And
on her
I mean,
butt. Yeah.
yeah, on her butt, on again carpeted stairs, which trust me, if anybody's falling down wooden stairs versus carpet stairs, like there's a big difference. But yeah, I think it was that's way I don't know. I'm a little team Linda when Monica's like she slid down the stairs. Nobody pushed her down the stairs. Like, what did you want me to do? Go and take her to the hospital? Like she was fine.
Yeah, and then she did show her bruise and stuff, which can happen. But
Yeah,
then she was saying she hit her head, but you see how she landed. She was
yeah. She
halfway
landed
down the
on her butt,
stairs. So how does she hit her head?
and
I don't think she hit her head. I think, I think production was like, just go ahead and scan everything. We don't want to be liable for this shit.
yeah, no. There was no way she could have hit her head, or if she did, she may have like maybe bounced it, like tapped it against the wall or something. But like, I don't know.
Yeah. And then it is funny because she was like, yeah, I mean, Meredith said take her house. And Meredith's like, no, I never said that. I said it's a liability that I never said take her house. And then you can
Yeah.
see Monica, this is when she gets her phone and it's like, "Tit, tit, tit, tit," like she's looking for it, but she doesn't find it, obviously.
Uh-uh.
But when she pulled her phone out, it was tit, 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 tit. Did you notice that her pop socket is a smiley face? Like just the
No, I
smiley
didn't
face
even catch that.
emoji.
Oh
Oh
my
my
god.
god. I put it on my TikTok because I was like, the irony of her getting her phone out and it's like smiley face pop socket, like do 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 do. I'm gonna find these receipts, and then she does not find the receipts. Um, Now we go into, does Monica sue people? I've never sued anybody in my life. I've never sued anybody in my life. Well, if you listen to the Bravo docket, they would disagree. I think they found 20 something lawsuits involving Monica, and then Heather just says under her breath, "Well, she's suing me." It's
Yeah.
just such a non-story when normally in Housewives world, this would be a huge story. It's just like a non-story.
It's just strange that she so like casually lies and like doesn't and can very easily be fact checked and proven incorrect, but like she just like lies and moves on from that.
Yeah. Like she goes like, "I've never sued anybody." And they're like, "Do you sue people?" She's like, "No." And Heather's like, "You're suing me." She's like, "That's a countersuit." I was like, "Well,
Yeah,
that's still suing."
yeah, she's
you
like, you sued
know?
me first. Well, that doesn't mean you're not suing her back. Like,
Oh my God. So then we get the mystery solved of all of Monica's names. So her maiden name is Darnell. So she was Monica Darnell growing up. Her married name was Fowler. This is for her 3 kids because remember, she had the first kid with somebody else. That guy left. Then Delgado is her dad's side. So she technically, I suppose, would have been Monica Delgado if her parents were married. Then Garcia is her mother's original maiden name that her mother dropped. So Monica's never had the name Garcia. At some point, she just decided, I think I'll take a name that my mom dropped when she was 18, which makes
yeah.
a zero sense. A zero sense. So at least we got it cleared up, even though it's really not cleared up. She's been Monica Darnell, Monica Fowler, Monica Delgado, and Monica Garcia. And then they accused her of using the Garcia to make her appear more Latino to get on the show,
Yeah,
which
which
she
Lisa
probably
then
did.
says that that was actually Jen's uh something that Jen accused her of. Which I mean, listen, you see how desperate and thirsty she was to get on the show to begin with, that it's like at this
Yeah.
point I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that she was trying to do.
Yeah, totally. So I want to talk briefly about her divorce from her husband because we were sort of led to believe on the show, and this is just editing and whatnot, that she's been divorced for a while and that like her ex gives her nothing and moved to another state
Yeah.
is what I kind of recall from the beginning. But she actually filed for divorce for the second time on October 24th of 2023.
Yeah.
She got married in 2009 and then filed for divorce 4 years after that, but then they reconciled. And then she filed for divorce the second time, June of 2023. She was awarded in October, she was awarded $2,636 a month in child support and $4,000 a month in alimony. So she's pulling in over $6,000 a month as the sole legal and physical guardian of these kids. So probably when she was filming, she wasn't getting a dime from this guy. Like, he left town. But now she is getting about $6,000 a month. I mean, it's not 300,000 like Sutton gets, but
I
it's
mean,
something. I
well,
mean,
you also have to, like, when somebody files for divorce, that doesn't automatically mean they're going to start getting child support or spousal support. Like, there's ongoing legal hearings that need to happen in order for all of that to now come to fruition. So I understand how on the show where she's like, well, I'm not getting anything, and he kind of just dipped out and bailed. But also, like, you're leaving out the context of, like, the divorce is still ongoing. Like, this is still sort of a pending divorce. But
yeah.
again, I think she likes to use certain details to play up her story to gain a little sympathy.
Yes, totally. And it is revealed that, people thought that because she explained about this 18-month long affair with her brother-in-law, but she says that she was in fact divorced because of domestic violence.
Yeah,
And her ex-husband spent days in county jail and is at one point told to go to jail for 12 months. He has pled guilty to assault in front of a judge. He did assault her more than one time in front of her children. He was sentenced, this is what it says, he was sentenced to 12 months in prison. No, excuse me,
probation.
12 months probation. Thank you.
Yeah,
12 months probation and had to pay $1,000 in fines. $1,000 seems pretty low because he did admit it. So, and maybe that's why it was low, because he admitted guilt. So, look, she grew up in a tumultuous situation with her mother. And then she found herself, pregnant, and that guy left her. And then she found herself in this marriage that was obviously not stable, had 3 kids, and then at some point decided to have an affair with her brother-in-law. And then the guy, they had domestic abuse, they divorced, they got back together. Monica's been through a lot. So, like, all of that
yeah,
sort of would have been enough to make a good story, a good housewife, a good
yeah.
Phoenix rising from the ashes. She didn't need all this other stuff, all this other drama, to make her story compelling, right?
I mean, I don't think she needed any more drama to add it in, but I feel like, and even just her connection to Jen Shot, like that alone was a
Alone.
big enough
Yeah.
hook,
Yeah.
But I just think she's somebody that, loves to really soak it all in as much as she can, and, wanted to play all her cards in order to really secure this spot on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So now Mary arrives. So I love Andy's dig. It's like, good to see you at the reunion. So, Andy, are you going to do this? He's like, yeah, I am. You didn't even come. And then she explains why, because everybody was, talking about her church is what she doesn't say. And then Angie goes, well, I'm glad you were there because it was wonderful to have you. It was comedic relief. And she's like, Angie, you're new. Why are you even talking? And every time anybody would talk, Andy would say, well, actually, she was saying something nice. And Mary would go, oh, okay, never mind. Or she would say, why are you talking? And Andy's like, well, I asked everyone a question and Lisa Barlow is part of the cast, so she's answering. Oh, okay. I mean, just Mary is so wacky.
She's
Wacky.
so wacky and just, like, socially awkward and, like, wanting to
Yes.
fight with everyone even when, and the other thing too is, like, she throws out, like, such vile things, but somebody says something so minor, even if it's a compliment, and she takes it so hard, and it's
Yeah.
just like, "Girl, what are you doing?"
Yeah. But Andy goes, she was giving you a compliment. She was being nice. She's like, oh, okay. So he says, who do you like? And she says, well, I do like Angie, she just like yelled at her. She goes, I
Yeah.
do like Angie. She can take it. I like Monica. She's pretty. And I like Meredith. I was like, and listen, I like to look at Monica too. She is pretty. And I do enjoy looking at pretty people.
Yeah.
And I like Meredith. We still don't understand the Meredith Mary. It will never be explained. No one will ever be able to explain it. It makes no sense.
I don't get it either. Like, it's such a weird, wacky friendship. Like, I don't get what Meredith sees in her, and I don't get what Mary even sees it. Like, I just considering how wacky Mary is and how Mary doesn't like anybody. I'm like, what was it about Meredith that, like, broke the mold
Right.
for her? Like,
Right. Right. Yeah. And she says, and I did like Heather until I saw that interview and I felt like, she was making fun of my house. And Andy says, Mary, with all due, you did call Heather inbred. I was like, Mary goes, well. Hmm. And she goes, I mean, yeah, I tell the truth. And then she says, then she has to like get it in there. She goes, I want to tell all you something. I had my house before the show. You just got your nice house. And Heather goes, okay, because of my business. Feel free to come over and make fun of my house anytime. It's fine. But Mary's like, I was like, okay, Mary, you got that house because your parishioners paid for it. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, Mary didn't earn that money. She inherited the church and her grandpa and then was using the parishioners' money to fund her lifestyle. Like, let's be real.
Okay, yeah. So Andy says, Mary, the thing about you is that you say things to people like right to their face. And she goes, yeah, thank you. It's a compliment. And Andy goes, okay, wasn't, but okay. And then he goes, but sometimes you say horrible things. And she goes, yeah, I know. And then we see a clip package of all the horrible things she said. Like even to Monica, you're so pretty. I hope you don't eat yourself into being fat. I mean, that necklace was a choice. And just like the mean, and you need to like shut up and quit talking. The things that she says, bobblehead and all that, like, yeah. And she's like, okay, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Everybody needs it. Everybody needs more Mary in their life. Can you imagine if she was your minister, your preacher, your spiritual
No.
guide?
But it's just so wild to me that like she can say anything she wants and she's just like, listen, that's just me being me. But anybody says anything to her, it's just like she's going to send Jesus after them.
That's exactly right. So now we get into the whole thing about her son, who is clearly baked out of his mind at all times.
Okay.
And is Robert Jr. married? And she goes, I don't believe it because I haven't seen paperwork. And he goes, well, does he have to show you the paperwork? And she goes, yeah, because I don't believe it. I think somebody did find their paperwork like online, like, public records.
Yeah, I think
But
that's how it came out is the public record was revealed and that's how she even found out because other people were talking about it because somebody found it.
yeah, and she's just like, he says he's married. I don't know. I still refer to her the girlfriend, and she moved in 3 months before filming. And so then the next clip that we get, like it's like a cut, an edit cut. And Andy says, so your son and his wife, and he refers to her as the wife, and she doesn't correct. Um, the whole thing about you don't want your son to think he's good in bed, like explain that. This was wild. She said she heard the girl in the room yelling like in ecstasy with the lovemaking. And Mary said, so I thought something was wrong. So I peeked in the door and I was traumatized. Like I was scarred. Like
Oh,
and then I told the girlfriend slash wife, and these are like 20, 21-year olds. I told her, don't act like he's all that if he's not. Like, you don't want him to get a big head. Like, I mean, if you're really feeling it, you should do it. But like, if not, like, you're talking about your son. That is disgusting.
yeah, your
It's
son.
disgusting.
Yes, and like it's also disgusting that like she feels comfortable enough to like be moaning so loudly in the mother's house. Like
Yes.
that's also like
Yes.
the whole part of this situation is just so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Why don't they have their own section of the house? I mean, it shouldn't just be like his childhood bedroom and the wife moved in. I mean, it's a big house. They could knock down a wall and give him like a suite of rooms.
But also, Mary just even inserting herself into the bedroom and just like, wouldn't you knock and be like, is everything okay in there? Like, why would you just open the door and just be like, what's going on in here? Is she okay? Is she screaming
Yeah.
in ecstasy or is she screaming in agony?
Yeah. Also, it is her house, so I would say she can open the door, and if they don't like it,
Yeah.
they can move out. Yeah,
Yeah.
So then we move on to the relationship between Mary and Whitney, and I love that Mary goes, "Whitney's terrified of me for some reason." What? Because you're so awful to
You're
her.
mean to her.
It's so funny, little girl.
Little
And
girl.
and she goes, yeah, like she tweeted all these awful things. And Mary goes, I didn't tweet anything about you. I mean, I just tweeted you're racist, but I didn't tweet anything about you. And they're like, well, okay, wait. You didn't tweet anything about her, but you tweeted flat out, Whitney is a racist, period.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, I mean, but that's true though. I mean, because like, I just think that based on their religion. And then she explains that in from her understanding, Mormons are against people of color and that people of color will have a different heaven and they will be the help. Now, I've never heard that, but that doesn't mean Mary doesn't
Yeah.
know more than I do about Mormon doctrine. And Whitney and Heather both say, yeah, the church is rooted in racism, but and Heather, who's no church apologist, says the church has been making huge efforts to change that over the years. But yeah, that is what she's saying is true. A lot of it was started in racism. And
Yeah.
so, of course, Lisa Barlow is like, that's not true. That's not true. I'm Jewish and I'm Mormon. That's not true. I was like, well, I think you're like a new Mormon. I think they know more. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
They were like raised, yeah.
I think she's just Mormon in word only.
She
So,
also has a tequila brand while being more like it's just
yeah, and
yeah.
she's allowed to show her shoulders at church. Remember, don't
Yeah.
forget that. Heather's like, how'd she get away with showing her shoulders at church? Devilish shoulders. So, Whitney reminds Mary, she goes, but Mary, I want to remind you, like, I'm no longer part of that church. And that's part of the reason. And then Mary says, well, you can't understand how I feel as a person of color. And Whitney goes, you're right. I have white privilege and I can sit over here and say it, but you're right. And then Mary goes, preach it, Whitney, but with like a deadpan face. And then Whitney just looks at her and she goes, no, I'm saying you've said a couple of smart things this season. And Whitney doesn't know what to do with that because it was a compliment.
Yeah.
Even though she looked like she was mad, it was a compliment.
Yeah, like,
Um,
Mary just I don't think Mary believes that Whitney is racist because she doesn't believe that Heather or Lisa Barlow are racist, even though,
right.
Heather was raised Mormon and Lisa Barlow is actively a Mormon. So yeah, Mary just has something against Whitney that's just like personal that she just can't own. Like, I don't understand what it
She
is that
can't
she has
explain
against
it
her.
really. Yeah, she
No,
can't
she
explain
doesn't
it
know
because
what
he
it is.
asked
Yeah.
her. She says just something about her I don't like. I don't like it. It's just something
Yeah.
about her. She just don't. And sometimes people do just hit you the wrong way. So I guess that's what's happening. So he asked Mary what she thinks about Monica and that last episode in Bermuda, like what happened, receipts, proof, timeline, all that screaming at Monica and Seven. You are a reality Von Teese, blah blah blah. And Mary says, I thought it wasn't fair, and I don't know anything about this troll account. I don't know who. I don't know anything about it. And Lisa says, "Well, would you care if she called you a dumb bitch?" And Mary goes, "I mean, probably not. Are you kidding me?
You
If
cared that
somebody
they
called,
said, but like all the other things that she cared about that people she's like, Heather didn't like my decor. She said my house looked like Dr. Seuss, which come on, her house does look like fucking Dr. Seuss. Her decor is
yeah,
so tacky and ugly.
it is Dr. Seuss. There's no way you could look at it and be like, oh this is great. No, it's all like bright colors and different colored pleather crown chairs. Of course. And she did that on purpose. That's her aesthetic and that's great, girl. But when
Yeah.
Lisa says, how would you feel if she called you a dumb bitch? And she's like, I wouldn't care. And they're like, really? You wouldn't care? And then I love how Lisa goes, get the audio, get the audio. And Heather's like, oh, pulls it out from under the cushion and gets it. And Heather plays it. And um, we know now all we didn't it's interesting, right? Because all this was filmed a couple of months ago and they all had this stuff from Tanisha. Tanisha's been quiet this whole time until her name was mentioned on the finale. And then she's finally able to talk and say that she did give all this audio to Heather and all of this. So all this audio we're getting is from Tanisha, who Monica says was her best friend. So Heather plays the audio of basically Monica, who seems to be playing a character named Monica. It's so wild because she's like, and I'll tell you what, yeah, I'll just say that dumb bitch. And she's so stupid. She probably won't even look at her DMs. And she's just like, like double snap. Like, what's happening on
Yeah.
these? She's just so like over the top. Is that how you talk to your friend? I mean, maybe that's how she talks to Tanisha. But Mary didn't believe that Reality Von Teese would call her a dumb bitch. And they're like, Reality Von Teese is Monica. She just said it, that she would call you a dumb bitch and send it to you as Reality Von. She just said it. And Mary's like, I don't know.
Mary is just like her. I don't know. She lives in a land of delusion and like how she picks and chooses who she likes and who she doesn't like. And the reasons behind it make zero sense to me.
Agree. Agree. So next week is going to be part 3, which is what we've all been waiting for. Now, let me ask you, when Monica brings out the Burn book, do you think this is a crossover promo for Mean Girls?
I've heard people say that, but I want to say Andy came out and said that it wasn't a crossover promo for Mean Girls. It just happened to be like coincidental. I don't know. I didn't think it was when I first saw it in the trailer. I thought Monica was trying to be cheeky and cute with it. Especially since
Well,
Mean Girls is such a thing of topic right now.
right. But so several months ago, it wasn't when this was filmed. And my question for you is this Burn book where she pulls it out. Okay, let's just like, okay. How would you get that? Would you go online and find that and then like blow it up and then like print it off on your home printer and then wrap it around a photo album? Like, how would you make that? Do they sell these like burn books? I mean,
I
it's
wonder, they might
hilarious.
sell a burn book. I didn't even think of that, but it wasn't even like a printout. Like it was like an actual furry pink book that was like really, I mean, I would assume they would sell like mock burn books. Like Mean
Maybe
Girls is
so.
so, yeah, Mean Girls I feel like is so part of pop culture that I'm sure you can find a burn. Let me
Yeah,
see.
well, I was really like, because in my mind, I'm thinking about like what I would do if I wanted to do that. I was like, I would use up all the color printer ink in my printer and print it out and then like wrap it around an old school photo album. Like that's how I would do it. But I think you're right. It did look a little fuzzy. It did look a little fuzzy.
Yeah, you can buy burn books on Etsy. So people have made burn books that you can buy like blank burn books to make your own.
Okay, I'm not gonna make one. I don't think that's nice. I'll just keep it. I
I
just keep it all in my head.
keep it all up here.
So I
Receipts,
keep it all.
timeline.
That exactly. Exactly. I did love that that member of Congress when it came out and was because people were like, I
That was
wonder if
hilarious.
well, I was like, I wonder if he said that or if like his because I live in the DC area, I live in that world. And you have to wonder like if it was a ledge assistant, which is like the lowest you can be in the office to be a ledge assistant. I was like, I wonder if it was like or like a mailroom guy that helped him write that speech and put that in there as like a nod. But no, that guy, the congressman said, like, I've been a Bravo fan forever. I wrote that speech. I was like, good for him. He
Good
was like,
for
I'm the
him.
first guy to ever bring it in. I was like, I love it. I love it.
That's
Heather
hilarious.
Gay, iconic. So, um, in the preview, she says that she set up Jen Shaw's home security system. She could listen and watch her in her home. Did that give you chills? That's scary as shit.
I just love that that came right after she's like, no, I wasn't stalking Jen. But it's like, but you were literally driving by her house and now we find out that you had access to her security system. Like, that's creepy.
Very creepy. Very creepy. And like we have security system in our home, but we don't have cameras inside our house, right? Like we've got them on the doorbells and stuff.
Yeah.
But you think about that if you do set up a home security system and you have to do it on an app on your phone and you have I mean the guy that helped you totally could log into it, I bet. Like
Yeah.
that's wild. And she trusted her friend to do it.
Yeah, she trusted her to help install it. And like, I don't know, the fact that she was even driving by Jen's house, like to me, it's just
It's
that
weird.
is a
It's
level
weird.
of it is a level of stalking. It is a level of just like crossing boundaries.
But let me ask you this. So you're too young to know this, but back in the day, when we wanted to find out where anybody was before there were cell phones or anything, we just had our landline at our house that we had to like drag into our bedroom to like talk to our boyfriend. Before back where in my day, you could get your driver's license when you were 15. Okay. So when we were 14 and a half, 15 years old, we would take our parents' giant cars and you would drive around like, okay, let me see if like my boyfriend is at so and so's house or let me
Yeah.
see. And then you'd want to see if they're home, like if their parents' cars are home, but his light is off in his room. That's what you would do to see if people were home. You would drive by their house.
Yeah.
In this day and age, you don't have to do that. Um, I find it very strange that a grown woman with 4 children at home, possibly a husband at home too at that time, we don't know,
Yeah.
is driving around neighborhoods. And then what? You're going to see their cars and then what? They're home? Who cares? What's the point?
Well, my understanding is she was doing it to like film stuff to have content for reality Von Teese.
To be like, here's Jen Shaw's house. Here she is
Yeah,
coming
like
out of her house.
she may have been the one that filmed when like the feds were all outside her house. Remember? And there was like somebody that like had footage from outside her house. I mean, that
Yeah.
could have come from any neighbor, but like I think that was like her intention was to drive by and see what was going on at Jen's house and possibly, I don't know. It's weird.
It's very weird. And then she was writing Tanisha saying, give me Heather's new address so I can drive by her house. And Tanisha, in the text exchange we saw, Tanisha's like, no. She's like my client and I'm not going to give you what? No. Why are you driving by her house? It's so weird.
Yeah, for what reason? Like what are you going to get? What do you hope to find?
Yeah. I mean, if somebody drives by my house, they're going to see nothing. They might see somebody walk outside with a dog, but that's it. Like, I don't get
Yeah.
what the point is. So that's really weird. So hopefully we're going to find all that out next week. They're teasing the third one is really great and all that.
I mean,
Okay, now,
finally, we need the answers that we've all been wanting about reality Von Teese.
and if it is 6 people, in the words of Sutton, name them.
Yeah.
Name them. Who are the other 5 people? Name them.
Monica Fowler, Monica Darnell, Monica Garcia.
Monica Delgado, Monica Garcia Delgado. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Wow, these ladies, they have a lot of stress in their lives. And, feeding their kids does not need to be on the list of things that stress them out. So they need to let our sponsor, Little Spoon, eliminate the stress of mealtime because Lord knows they got enough drama in their lives. Little Spoon has baby blends, biteables, plates, smoothies, snacks, and lunchers. So many options. Little Spoon is a one-stop shop for a healthy, easy mealtime and snack time for your baby, toddler, and big kid delivered right to your door, which to me is the most important thing. Their goal at Little Spoon is to make keeping your kid healthy feel like the easiest part of your day so that you can cut through all that drama at mealtime. And even better, like I said, Little Spoon comes right to your door. It's so easy. It arrives and you just pop everything into your fridge or freezer. You pick the menu. You can change it up each week every time you order. Like if your kid really loved like that strawberry banana smoothie, get triple of it the next week. You could just change it up, whatever you want. And the price is great. The quality is amazing. It's a huge win for the kids and their parents, especially if their parents on a reality show and stressed out. So hopefully you don't have that much drama in your lives and you can simplify your kiddos mealtime with 30% off your first order. Go to littlespoon.com/pinkshade and enter our code pinkshade at checkout to get 30% off your first Little Spoon order. Go to littlespoon.com/pinkshade, enter our code pinkshade, and you'll get 30% off your first Little Spoon order. And another thing I was thinking about with these couples is sheets, because, Whitney and Justin, they like to get freaky in the sheets and put it on TV. And then, of course, we have Meredith and Seth who have an entire podcast about like rekindling your marriage. And then I was wondering if our sponsor, Attitude, has sheets big enough for Angie K's triple king bed that she shares with her husband and her daughter. Probably not, because that's like a really weird bed that I think they made up. Anyway, I have just gotten the most amazing sheets that have completely changed my life and my sleeping habits. These unbelievably soft, clean bamboo sheets. Clean bamboo is the way to go by Attitude. I sleep hot, and so does my husband. And these sheets, they are a game changer. The minute we got them, put them on the bed, no lie, woke up the next morning and ordered a second set. And I ordered some for my kids too, because for some reason my kids sleep hot. I don't know, maybe it's something with our house. But these sheets have over 20,000 5-star reviews, and I'm going to leave one as well. And in a controlled sleep study, sleep efficacy improved by 1.5% per night, racking up to a whopping extra 43 hours of sleep per year. 94% of participants preferred Attitude sheets to competitors, which means you'll sleep better throughout the night, wake up feeling more rested than ever before, and we all need it. So these sheets are soft. They are wonderful. I can personally recommend them. I'm sleeping on them currently at the moment and waiting for my next shipment so that I can switch them out. So I think that you're so sure that you'll love sleeping with them, and Attitude is so sure that you'll love sleeping with them. You can try any Attitude bedding risk-free for 30 nights. So if you're not completely satisfied, you can return it for a full refund. They're feeling pretty confident in their product there, guys. Never miss a good night's rest and recovery again with Attitude. So you're going to get $35 off your first order plus free shipping. That's $35 off your first order plus free shipping. Go to attitude.com/pinkshade. That's ETTITUDE.com/pinkshade, and you're going to get $35 off and free shipping. All right, let's move on to OC. Now, OC is not on right now, but I want to talk to you about the dissolution of the Tres Amigas. So, okay, there's Tamra, there's Vicki, there's Shannon. They were doing a Tres Amigas tour. Now, unfortunately, it all centers around like, woo, we drink tequila. We are the Tres Amigas. The whole thing is dumb. But whatever, people want to buy tickets to see them be silly and maybe answer some off the cuff questions. You might get some scoop. Fine, live your life, get a babysitter, go out, have some
Yep.
fun. But Shannon, of course, then crashed her car into a home and got a DUI and justice for Archie. So all of that happened, and then they were still going to continue to do it, which was surprising to me on Shannon's end. I'm like, you shouldn't be doing that and promoting this and saying you're not drinking, but going out and do this thing. I thought it was a bad look on Shannon's part if she was trying to get better. Now,
Yes.
Tamra then dropped out. So now it's the Dos Amigas, right? Tamra has dropped out. And to me, which makes total sense, she has a podcast with Teddy. And she and Teddy do very well with their podcast. Think what you want about Teddy or Tamra, whatever. Their podcast does really well. They get some big gets and stuff because of their association with Bravo. And she should, just in my thought, do something with Teddy to promote that because that's their business. And my understanding is that Tamra dropped out because she just could not support Shannon anymore because she alleges that Shannon is still drinking and not taking what she did seriously. And she also has alleged that Shannon recorded Vicki having an argument with her son, video recorded it, and was like holding it over Vicki's head. And then Tamara's the whole point is like, what kind of a friend is Shannon that she's doing this? And also, we shouldn't be promoting this drinking thing. So that's why I'm no Tamra apologist. I'm just saying this is all the sides that I've heard. And that Vicki and Shannon are going to keep on and then have special guests like, the meanest snake on the planet, Kelly Dodd. So I would like your thoughts on this.
I mean, if what Tamara is saying is true, and she's just like, I didn't feel comfortable moving forward with the tour because, I think Shannon should be prioritizing her mental health and taking her DUI seriously, then I think that that's a valid reason. And she's also been clear that like this 2 Teas in a Pod show, which I think it's coming up next week, the 25th in San Francisco, the 2 Teas in a Pod show is a one-off. They're not planning on doing a tour. Months ago, they got an offer to do a live taping of it. They have Edwin and Eddie that are going to be in it, and then Emily from OC that's also going to be in it. So, I mean, it seems like I don't know if I believe that it's just a one-off. I feel like once you do one, then you kind of like, oh, let's do more. But she
Yeah.
says that she disclosed this to them months ago. I think Vicki's always going to look for some sort of reason to not like Teddy and to like, be upset about 2 Teas in a Pod. But like Vicki has to understand like 2 Teas in a Pod is a very successful business for Tamra. Like, yes, it's a podcast, but it's still a business that is very profitable and does very well for Teddy and Tamra. And like, that's not something that she's just going to walk away from just because Vicki feels a little salty or jealous that she's doing it with Teddy. I don't think Vicki has had any real reason to not like Teddy. I think Teddy's given her a little bit of an opportunity to get to know her, and Vicki's just never been willing to. So good that Vicki and Shannon have decided to move on with their tour together. I know Tamara's like, listen, if they want to go and do their thing, I hope they sell a lot of tickets. I don't think that it's in Shannon's best interest, though, to keep doing live shows or to stay in this environment so shortly after the DUI, not just like for her own mental health, but like optics wise as well. Like this doesn't look good for you, and this doesn't look good for your hearing with your DUI. Like, I think you should really be doing some serious inner self-reflection and, really taking this seriously, which I don't think she is.
Yeah. And I think that it was the Bravo Docket girls that said and it may not have been so, but I do believe it was, that said that in the OC over COVID, they kind of rejiggered their system so that DUIs were considered misdemeanor and just sort of pushed through the docket system really quick and not considered, a felony or not considered like a class 2 something something. So not as serious in the OC as it may be where like I live. Um, so that's another reason maybe she knows like she's not going to go to jail. She's, may have to be, prove that she went to 10 AA meetings and serve some
Yeah.
community service. It's not that big of a deal where they are, specifically in Orange County where they live. So that could be it. Her lawyer could be like, this is what's going to happen. But I would imagine her lawyer would be, as a public persona, you definitely shouldn't be seen out in public drinking. And you probably should take a break from the reality show where a lot of your persona is drinking.
Yeah.
And, for me, I think that coming up next season on OC, they say John Jansen and Alexis are going to film. And I mean, do you think that's true? Because that's shocking as well. And then have Shannon on there. That's gross.
I don't, as far as I'm aware, Alexis has not signed on for the new season. And Vicky's not signed on for the new season either. So it'll really just be Tamra and Shannon, at least as of now. But
Hmm.
I feel like, I mean, it is messy. I would kind of love to see this all play out, but I also understand that like Shannon really needs to evaluate her life and be like, what is my priority? Is it getting myself into a healthy space? Is it really taking care of this situation? Because from the outside looking in, it doesn't look like she's taking it seriously. Continuing to do the tour, even without Tamra, I don't think is a good look. It's fine for her to continue to do the reality show, but like you have to be mindful of like what's going to be your story this season and like how are you going to show or are you going to use that to show that you are changing and that you are trying to be better, because that's really what she needs to show at this point. I think the audience is not team Shannon right now. Even with the Alexis and John Jansen stuff, everyone's just like, listen, Shannon needs to get her shit together.
Yeah. And you wonder, if the cast is going to stay the same or add Alexis, then it's sort of like, where do the alliances all shift? It is so hard to kind of figure out on these shows. You'll be watching and like, wait, I forgot that last season these two didn't like each other because now in the off season they made up. And it's so hard to kind of always keep track.
Yeah.
So in the one sense, I am kind of glad that Tamara explained her part because, Tamara and Vicky are always such a duo. They always seem to fight and get back together. But I think Tamara's like, I think I just told Vicky, like, Shannon's not a friend to you, and why are you doing this? And again, maybe we're all being played. Maybe this is all just to hype up a new season, you know?
I mean, I did hear the theory that like maybe, and this is just a theory, it's all speculation, but like maybe this was their attempt to get Vicky back on the show. Where if there's a big
Mm,
falling out that involves Shannon and Tamara, then this may be a great way to reincorporate Vicky. I mean, listen, from a viewer standpoint, I would love to see Vicky and Alexis return.
mm.
But from a, what's best for Shannon standpoint, I think Shannon should have even really considered whether or not this is the best decision for her to make, considering Alexis is on the table and they are considering bringing her in. And is that going to be a situation that's going to be triggering for her? And how is that going to affect her and her drinking this season? Because everything's going to be filmed. So if she has, a drunk night, then there's very likely that that's going to come up on the show. And, she's just going to have to continue to face that all over again.
Yeah. I don't think Shannon and Alexis were ever on at the same time.
No,
They've
no, they
never been a
never filmed
crossover.
together.
So they probably just know each other from the Housewives
They don't
world, but
know
they
each other. Alexis has come out and she's like, I've never met Shannon. I don't know Shannon. Yes, we happen to be on the same show together, but she's like, I have no idea. Like Shannon and I have never met or interacted. That's why I think Alexis doesn't really feel as bad about the John Jansen stuff because she's like, I don't know Shannon and like I have no connection to her.
what is it about John Jansen? Because he's just not all that.
No,
Like, I
he's
don't get
not. He's
it.
very not anything. Like I don't know what's so
He
special about
looks
him that these women seem to be so hooked on him.
and it doesn't even seem like he's, like, rich or anything like that, so it would be like, well, that's the he's standing on his wallet. It's none of that.
No.
I don't get it. I don't get it, and he's all like, "Oh," and, Shannon's whole thing last season was he doesn't want any of this to be on the show, he doesn't wanna be part of the show. Okay, so but now he's gonna date Alexis, who's actively trying to get back on the show? What?
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't
Mm,
make sense. I mean,
these
I
aren't
think he's thirsty. I think he wants to be a part of it. Because even now, like, he's not, opposed to this being in the press. He's not opposed to her posting about them on social media together. So it's not that he doesn't like the attention and he doesn't like the show. I think he really does like it. And he probably just didn't really like Shannon.
I think that's right. Oh my god. That was hard. That was a hard truth to hear, but it was true.
Yeah.
That was hard. That was hard. That hit my heart. That hit my heart. Um, all right, Zach. Well, tell everybody about your show and how you do it. I came on your show one time and you do like YouTube live, but then you put that into podcast form. So explain it how it works and when you put it out and all that jazz.
Yes. So we release the show daily, Monday through Thursday, and then we have bonus episodes that come out on Fridays. But so we stream it live on YouTube every morning. It's called No Filter with Zack Peter. Streams live first thing in the morning, and then the audio immediately gets uploaded to to all podcast platforms. So you can listen to No Filter with Zack Peter on your favorite podcast app. You can stream it live in the mornings on YouTube, or you can also watch it on Spotify because we have full video episodes that are uploaded to Spotify too.
Oh my goodness, you're doing a lot. You're doing a lot. Do you always film like right there in that cute spot where you are right now with your cute green kitchen behind you?
For now, yes, I do have a home studio that we're actively, slowly putting together that'll hopefully be done soon. And then since I've been working with Spotify a lot more lately, they have a gorgeous new studio that I'm going to start taping out of as well that's here in downtown. So I do have so you won't be seeing much of this kitchen anymore. This has been like my temporary space. I just moved into this apartment a few months ago. So it's been a transition, but
Yeah.
eventually you will be seeing other aesthetics outside of my
Well, I
kitchen.
like it. And do people comment on how clean and neat your kitchen is? It looks like you don't even live there.
They do comment on how clean and neat it is, which is a lot of work because I have two 11-month-old puppies that keep the apartment very rambunctious most of the time.
What kind of doggies are they? I have two dogs too. What kind of dogs are they?
They're golden doodle Labradors, so they're big boys, um, but they definitely keep things interesting for sure. And they're, like I said, 11 months, so they're very naughty sometimes and like to chew up my furniture.
I have two mini golden doodles.
Oh,
And Violet is she just lost some weight. She's a skinny legend. She's like 22 pounds now. She was 25, but
wow.
she's really been working on her fitness. She's 22 pounds. And then Ginger, her sister, is 17 pounds.
Oh,
So
they're
they're
little.
little.
Yeah.
They're so cute. But I don't understand golden doodle Labrador because it's either a Labradoodle or it's a golden doodle. So how is it a golden doodle Labrador? How's that?
Because dad was a golden doodle and mom was a Labrador. Mom was a full bred Labrador. She was a rescue that my family took
Okay.
in. And
Hmm.
then she was pregnant. So she had puppies with a golden doodle. So I kept two of those puppies.
And was that on purpose to have these puppies, or did they sneak off in the
No,
night and
it was a family Christmas party, and one of my mom's friends brought her dog over, and then next thing you know she's knocked up. And so then we decided, and so my mom was like, I don't have the heart to sell these dogs. So we kept them all in the family. So they were given to family friends or different relatives. I was only supposed to get one, who was the smallest one. He was the runt because I live in downtown. So I'm in an apartment in like a high rise building that like it's not like there's not like a yard or anything. Um,
Yeah.
so I took the smallest one, begrudgingly because I was like, I don't want a dog. But then my mom's like, there's one left and nobody wants him. And he's so little and nobody
Oh.
wants him because he's blonde and he's the smallest. And so I was just like, okay, fine, I'll take him. And then eventually I moved into this apartment, which is bigger. And she was like, well, see, now you have more room. And so there was another one that my brother was supposed to take in, who was the biggest of the batch. And my
Uh-uh.
brother at the last minute wasn't able to take him in. So my mom's like, well, now you have more room so you can have another one. And so I ended up with both of them.
Oh my gosh. Well, what are their names? Because I'm obsessed with dogs, so.
Sky and Sully. Sky's the little one, hi buddy, and then Sully's the big giant. He's a big boy.
Okay, well, they have not made a peep while we've been recording, so you must have, like, run them around outside.
They know it's relaxed time. They're
Okay, well,
chilling.
that's great because as we've been talking, you heard my dogs bark more than once, and that's probably because UPS drove by or somebody, like, walked to their car in my neighborhood, and then they just lose their minds for a solid 10 minutes. I'm always like, "I'm sorry, there are other people here. They could take care of the dogs that don't." Well, listen, everybody go and find No Filter with Zack Peter. It's so good, and you always sort of have up-to-date scoop, which I knew I could ask you about this Tamra stuff, and you would know. He always has the up-to-date scoop, and then if you wanna see his, cute face or his green kitchen, you can go or whatever his new stuff's gonna be, you can go see it on the old YouTube or Spotify as well, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Thanks, Zach. I'll talk to you later. content not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad-free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com.